To my fellow panelists up here. So this is Jason Huck, who leads up the campaign design. We have any campaign players out there? Do you guys like the campaign?
Warcraft Edition. Yeah. We have been waiting a year to get back to the Blizzcon stage to talk to you all about the next WoW expansion, Legion. And finally, that day has come. We are super excited to take you through the lands of the Broken Isles and show you all that they have to offer. Sorry, a little technical difficulty. So over the course of the next hour and a half, we're going to tell you everything there is to know about Legion. And that, by the way, is the extent of my Photoshop skills. So here's what's on the agenda. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the expansion. Eric Maloof is going to take you on a deep dive of the Demon Hunter Start experience. Julian Morris and Gary Plattner are going to take you through the zones of the Broken Isles. And the mighty, as you can see, Ian Hazzikostas is going to talk to you about dungeons and raids. But that's not all. We've got all new features to talk about today. Features that have not yet been revealed to the public and somehow, miraculously, not data mined or spoiled by MMO Champion. So, yeah. So, who's ready to hear about the third Burning Legion invasion of Azeroth? Woo! All right, let's get started. So where we last left off, Gul'dan had taken control of the Iron Horde from Grommash Hellscream and was raising a Fel-infused army to invade Azeroth and burn it to the ground. Now, of course, being the righteous defenders of justice that we are, we stopped that from happening. Or so we thought. The Burning Legion wasn't about to let their pawn fail. Not again. So while Draenor was saved, and it was saved, Gul'dan would be sent to our world, where he would be allowed to fulfill his pact. What happened to Gul'dan on Azeroth? Well, on our world, Gul'dan would hear a familiar voice, a voice that had been directing him all through Draenor, Kil'jaeden. And Kil'jaeden would gift Gul'dan with the near limitless knowledge of the Burning Legion. And with the secrets of the universe in his grasp, Gul'dan would be commanded to the Broken Isles, to the Tomb of Sargeras, where he would shatter protective wards, sealing an ancient gateway to Legion worlds. Needless to say, Gul'dan succeeds and kicks off the largest Burning Legion invasion of Azeroth ever. Chris Metzen, what are you doing in my slide? I can't shake him. He's everywhere. So that leads us to the cinematic that you guys just saw during the opening ceremony. Maybe. Yes? All right. Yes. Yes, it does. How about that cinematic, guys? We got any Alliance in the house? Yeah! You know, I've seen that cinematic probably 100 times. And we just showed it again, and I got goosebumps for the 101st time. Yeah. It's amazing, and maybe it's, and I think about it, and I think maybe it's because I know the story of Legion, I know what's going to happen, and it excites me. Or maybe it's because I'm excited for you all to get into Legion and find out the story for yourselves. But it strikes me that after working on Warcraft and WoW for almost 12 years now, that the game, the story, the world, the characters can still have such a huge effect on me. And hopefully on you too. But I do want to tell you something about this cinematic that you probably don't know. It is the first time that we have created a cinematic that ties directly into the main story of the game. It's a direct handoff, in fact. You know, with Legion, we felt like we really had an opportunity to take our storytelling to another level. And our incredibly talented cinematics team agreed and was eager to oblige. Now, clearly, guys, clearly, we wanted to get you all super excited for the expansion. By the way, how did we do? Okay, I think we can check that one off the list. But we also wanted to highlight our greatest heroes in their darkest hour and paint a target on the most dominant threat in the universe, the Burning Legion. And in the middle of all of that, kick off what we consider to be a really great Warcraft story. So, how does a cinematic handoff into the game actually work? Well, that takes us to the Broken Shore. What is the Broken Shore? That is a great question that somebody out there is thinking. I'm going to tell you what the Broken Shore is. Most importantly, the Broken Shore is ground zero for the Burning Legion invasion of Azeroth. The Legion invasion is coming directly from the Tomb of Sargeras, but this is also, equally as importantly, where we, Azeroth's greatest champions, meet up with Varian, Sylvanas, Jaina, Vol'jin, and the rest of the heroes of the Alliance and the Horde to face the Burning Legion. This is that handoff point from the cinematic where we see Varian and Sylvanas on the shore. This is where we will begin our mission to eradicate the Burning Legion from Azeroth. So with that said, the Broken Shore is the springboard by which we establish the primary plot points for the expansion and get everyone on the same page moving forward. Another thing to note, this time, the boost experience is its own separate adventure. So what that means, guys, is we can be a lot more consistent with the tuning of the Broken Shore, making things a bit more challenging and hopefully a lot more fun. What about the content structure? So we're trying to tell this humongous story with Legion. And we felt to really do it justice, we needed to kind of up our game. So with that said, the Broken Shore is actually a 40-player scenario split down the middle as two 20-player groups split between the Alliance and the Horde who are working in unison, synchronized as they ascend up the Broken Shore towards the Tomb of Sargeras, where they will face the ultimate evil in the universe and find out what the fate of the world is. So with that said, let's take a quick look here at a demo of the Broken Shore. I do want to say, guys, this is still super, super early. We've got a lot of work left to be done. A lot of iteration needs to still go into this and a bit of our time. But after this is over, Eric Maloof is going to come up and he's going to knock your socks off with some Demon Hunter stuff, like Demon Hunter awesomeness. And that'll be that. So Blizzcon, thank you so much. Let's take a look at this video, and here comes Eric after.
Alex? Cool. Hi, BlizzCon. Who wants to play a Demon Hunter? Hi, I'm Eric Maloof, quest designer on World of Warcraft, and I'm here today to talk to you about the brand new Demon Hunter intro. Demon Hunter is our new hero class. It starts at level 98. When you play through the intro, you're going to learn what it truly means to be a demon hunter. These elves have sacrificed everything. They've given up their friends and family. They've taken in immense amounts of fell energy, corrupting their bodies. They've even gouged out their own eyes to gain spectral sight to see their enemies that much better. And they've done this all for one overriding reason: the utter annihilation of the Burning Legion. Thank you. Now, the Demon Hunter intro also serves as our story bridge from the Burning Crusade expansion to the present. We're going to answer the question, what was it that Illidan Stormrage was up to all those years ago at the Black Temple when we were raiding him? So here you see a set of storyboards. Our amazing cinematics team is hard at work on a movie that will play at the beginning of the intro. In it, you see Illidan Stormrage atop the Black Temple terrace. He's surveying the scene below. The combined might of the Shatrath army and the champions of Azeroth, yeah, all of you, have arrived to raid the temple. But they've arrived too soon, sooner than he expected. You might say Illidan was not prepared. And so this moves up the timetable for your mission. You're going to invade a demon world, and there's a very specific purpose for it. So Illidan uses his immense fell energies, and he rips open a portal to this demon world called Mardoom. And you and your elite force of demon hunters jump through and begin your assault. Now, what is Mardoom? Well, it used to be a prison world for demons. Eons ago, when the Titan Sargeras was still good, he threw all the demons he came across onto this planet, imprisoning them there with an item that he'd crafted called the Sargerite Keystone. Now, when Sargeras turned evil, he shattered Mardoom into thousands of pieces. It was on one of these fragments that he entrusted the Sargerite Keystone to his most loyal demons. The Keystone is the objective of your mission. Who wants to take a look at Mardoom? Let's roll it. Pretty epic stuff. So as you saw in that video, the Burning Legion isn't fooling around this time. They brought out their heavy hitters. More powerful versions that we've seen before, but also all new terrifying demons have been joined to the roster. Let's take a look at the brand new Burning Legion lineup. So it's not just, as if that wasn't enough, it's not just demons that the Burning Legion has in its arsenal now. They've added these immense constructs. Now these huge soul-infused buildings each serve a special purpose in the new Legion war machine. This is the side of the Burning Legion we haven't seen before today. So against all that, how are we going to be triumphant? Well, we're demon hunters, so we're going to kill a lot of demons. Let's talk a little bit about some of the gameplay that you're going to experience on Mardoom. For example, you're going to turn the Legion's devices against them. You'll use their immense gateways, power them up, and bring in your own Illidari armies to aid in your assault on Mardoom. You'll also do things like tap into their communication devices, listen in on what their leadership is doing, and turn that against them. For added fun, we've sprinkled Legion crystals around Mardoom. You interact with these devices for a short period of time. The cooldowns on some of your Demon Hunter abilities will be reduced to 0. Now, it's not just the gameplay that's really important on Mardoom. You're also, like the Death Knight hero class before you, going to gradually gain your abilities over time during the intro. However, unlike the Death Knight, the Demon Hunter is going to rip the abilities from the smoking corpses of the more powerful demons that you slay. I want to show you a short clip. It's an ability called I-Beam. In it, you're going to see the Demon Hunter do a backflip, change into demon form, and unleash a torrent of fell energy on the enemies in front of him. Let's take a look. That is literally my favorite Demon Hunter ability so far. Now, no hero class would be complete without its very own epic mount. Illidan Stormrage himself is going to create for you the Fell Saber and give you a short clip of what that looks like in-game. Yes. Okay, I don't want to spoil everything that happens on Mardoom, but suffice to say, we know how this turns out at the Black Temple. When you return to the Black Temple at the end of your mission, you and your demon hunters are taken prisoner by Maiev Shadowsong and the champions of Azeroth, and you're imprisoned within the Vault of the Wardens, seemingly for all eternity. We'll get to the second half in a moment. Everything that I've talked to you about so far is playable here this weekend at Blizzcon. So over at the World of Warcraft booth in Hall B. But Mardoom is just the first half of the Demon Hunter intro. Let's talk about the second half briefly. Many years pass while you're imprisoned. Fast forward to the present. As Alex told us earlier, the Burning Legion has invaded and they've come in force. We're losing. The second half of the Demon Hunter intro takes place within the Vault of the Wardens, and when you break out, it's going to be up to you to save the world. Now, this part of the Demon Hunter intro will become available for play soon when we launch the beta. So what comes after the Demon Hunter intro? First thing you're going to do is join up with your faction. You're going to remain Illidari, but when you go to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, you're going to find their leadership in desperate need of your help. Who better to lead the vanguard and take the fight to the Burning Legion than a Demon Hunter? After that, you're going to return to Mardoom, and there you're going to establish your class Order Hall. Now, the Order Hall is a place where all Demon Hunters can congregate with you in charge. And last but not least, you're going to quest for your very own artifact-level Warglaives. I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today about the Demon Hunter intro. And without further ado, here are Gary and Julian. They're going to take you through the amazing new lands of the Broken Isles. Thank you.
Wow. Hello. My name is Jules. I'm one of the lead game designers on World of Warcraft. With me today is Gary, lead environment artist for WoW. And we're going to take you on a tour of the Broken Isles. And we've got an insane amount of stuff to get through today, so I'm going to dive right into it. So our quest to defeat the Burning Legion is going to see us scouring the continent of the Broken Isles in search of ancient Titan relics known as the Pillars of Creation. Now, the Titans used these relics to shape Azeroth into its first form. And it's only with these relics, the aid of our new Demon Hunter allies, and the powerful artifacts that you'll acquire, that we have any kind of shot at closing down the massive demon portal deep within the tomb of Sargeras. But before we get to the zones, I want to take a quick look back at some of the history of the Broken Isles. So around 10,000 years ago, at the height of the ancient Night Elven Empire, the lands of the Broken Isles was just a very tiny part of a vast region of Azeroth that was once known as Suramar. Now, with the planet-shattering events of the Sundering, the region of Suramar was utterly devastated. And what remains is just a tiny fraction of the once great Elven Empire that dominated these lands and so much more. Now, the Broken Isles exist today as a scarred and fractured landmass. It's divided into 6 distinct areas: Val'sharah, Stormheim, Azuna, High Mountain, Suramar, and Thaldranath. Alrighty, let's take a look at our first zone, Val'sharah. So look at one of our key concept pieces for the zone. Now, Val'sharah is a beautiful, densely forested druidic paradise, but there's also a darkness creeping into Val'sharah. The Emerald Nightmare is here, and it's begun to consume massive parts of the zone. Here's a look at the in-game map for the zone. You can see it represents a significant portion of the west coast of the Broken Isles. And so Val'sharah has been the hidden and somewhat forgotten heart of Druidism on Azeroth for many generations. It's here that Malfurion first met the demigod Cenarius and was trained as a druid. And it's here that will help Malfurion to track the source of the nightmare as it begins to corrupt so much of this beautiful land. Which leads me to Shaladrasil, a once glorious world tree at the heart of the forest that served as a gateway to the Emerald Dream. Shaladrasil has now become a twisted and tainted, monstrous distortion of its former awesome grandeur. Another important landmark within Val'sharah is the haunted ancient Night Elven fortress of Blackrook Hold. And if you know a little bit about the history of the time period of the War of the Ancients, you'll know that Blackrook played a pivotal role in the first war with the Legion. And coming into Val'sharah, you're going to be meeting up with some of the most revered and ancient Archdruids of Azeroth. Now, the guy on screen you see here is the Archdruid Elithir. He's a Grand Master Treant Druid and one of the 3 key Archdruids that you'll adventure with in Val'sharah. Now, the Nightmare Lord, Xavius, has sent his Satyr legions flooding into Val'sharah. And this is just a glimpse at 2 of the new Satyr types that you'll find within the zone. This is some concept work for the Nightmare Dragons. Now, Nightmare Dragons were all once green dragons, guardians and protectors of the Emerald Dream that are now fully corrupted by the Nightmare. And here's a look at some of their in-game models. But Val'sharah, as a zone, has a very druid-centric theme. And you're going to be running into a lot of native druids that live within Val'sharah. And so we've got all new awesome skins and models for creatures like keepers, dryads, hippogriffs, and of course, these guys, So I know this is going to make some of the druids happy out there. The new Moonkin models are really cool. They're super faithful to the old original you can see on the left there. But they've got a ton of character detail. They're really expressive. But I know there's a druid form that's universal to all druids that's been in need of a little sprucing up, we'll say. So here's a look at your all-new sea lion swim form. So now I'm going to hand you off to Gary, and he's going to take you on a deeper look inside the world of Val'sharah.
Thanks, Jules. My name is Gary, and I'm going to talk to you about the process that we all went through to create the world of Legion. I'm going to show you a lot of concept art, and I even have some video of our latest versions of every zone. So let's continue where Jules left off with Val'sharah. So this is meant to be a druidic paradise. So in order to make this, we wanted to create a true fantasy forest. So every time we start a new zone, we create a concept to try to illustrate that vision. And this was that concept. This piece is our foundation piece. From here, lots of people can do a lot of work from this concept because this gives us our palette, it gives us our shape, and it even gives us our mood. So from here, we can start to build the zone. And we can start to build these druid structures because all the structures in Val'sharah are almost indistinguishable from trees, so it was really important that the art team and the design team work really close together to create this druid world. Another pretty substantial part of Val'sharah is this. This is an early concept of Blackrook Hold, carved from the very rock with a small town that lives in its shadow. So like every good story, Val'sharah has a cool twist. And in this case, the twist is the nightmare. So we all had a lot of fun trying to illustrate what the heck the nightmare was going to be, how it was going to look. Was it going to move through the forest like a fire? Was it going to be like a big force field? We knew we wanted it to appear evil. We knew we wanted it to look dangerous. And we knew we wanted it to affect everything it touches. Another big challenge was this, the world tree Shaladroso. This was a giant tree that we had to see from almost an entire zone away, but still keep that unique feel of the nightmare that we were still trying to work on. So let's take a look at a video of our latest version of this zone.
Alrighty, Stormheim. So this is one of our key inspiration pieces for Stormheim here. Now Stormheim has this rugged, natural beauty to the highlands and the deep ravines, but the land itself is a super dangerous and treacherous land. And it's that treacherous nature of the landscape itself that really closely embodies the spirit of the Vrykul that call this place home. Here's a look at the in-game map for Stormheim. Now, this is on the other side of the continent, and it represents a good portion of the east coast of the Broken Isles. And after an awesome intro scenario that both factions take part in simultaneously, we're going to come into Stormheim and pick up on the story of the Vrykul that left Northrend thousands of years ago, well before the events of Wrath of the Lich King. And they came here in search of their true gods. We're going to compete against the Vrykul God King as he seeks to gain access to the halls of valor. We're going to dig deep into the origins of the Kavaldir and the Valkyr. And we're also going to gain access to Helheim and the Halls of Valor. Easily two of the best dungeons we have ever done. And Ian's going to take us through those in a bit of detail a little later on. Now there's a range of new Vrykul to meet throughout Stormheim. We refer to these guys as the Mystic Vrykul. Now these guys are religious zealots and masters of rune magics. And as I mentioned, we're going to take a deep look at the Valkyr. And there's a number of different Valkyr to meet here. The one you see on screen here is one of the new Ascendant Valkyr models that you're going to meet within the Halls of Valor. Now this is some concept work for the Vrykul God King, Skovald. And here's a look at his in-game model. Now you can see Skovald's a brutal warrior king, and he's been juiced up by his newfound Legion allies. And you're going to cross paths with this guy several times. And now we're also going to introduce you to a fledgling new dragonflight known as the Storm Dragons. And the Storm Dragons make their lairs and their homes within the mountain peaks of both Stormheim and Suramar. And I'm going to hand you back to Gary. I'm going to take a look at some of the details of Stormheim.
Cool. Thanks, Jules. So since the Vrykul are the main inhabitants of Stormheim, we wanted the zone to feel edgy and bold and sort of larger than life. After all, this is a stronghold of the Vrykul, so we wanted it to feel big and have that strength of the Vrykul. So we created this concept. So this is another one of our foundation pieces. From this piece, our guys can start to work on the zone. Look at these great fall colors and the big edginess of the cliffs. This is a piece that we can use to start to build the zone. We can even start to explore these different colors with our different pine trees and different yellows and our silhouettes. This piece was our piece that we used to do our environment, so we could see the relationship between our yellow trees and our interesting pines. From here, we could create the established buildings of the Vrykul. So here, these are established structures. These aren't the camps that we've seen with the Vrykul before. This is permanent structures. After all, this is a very sacred land for the Vrykul, full of ancient ruins and lots of mystery. So here's a video of our latest version of this zone. Cool.
Okay, Azuna. So this concept piece for Azuna that you're looking at here was actually one of the very first concept pieces that was done for the Broken Isles as a whole. And in this early phase, we're trying to capture the look of the massive ancient devastation that was caused by the Sundering that had such a dramatic effect on the Broken Isles as a whole. But for Azuna specifically, we're trying to capture this element, for the interior at least, that it's a serene island paradise. But the reality is, once you start exploring the ruins of Azuna, it's now a cursed and haunted land. This is a look at the game map for Azuna. Now it's all the way down under in the southwestern point. It's not Australia. And so, much of the devastation of Azuna actually occurred prior to the Sundering. The elven civilization here was annihilated by Queen Ashara herself in a single colossal display of power. And this is the mystery of the zone of Azuna. why she killed and cursed thousands of her own people.
Jules, wait, before you move on, can you go back one? I'm sorry. Just go.
How rude.
Just one more, really quick. This is fast, but it's worth it. Okay, this screenshot is awesome. You didn't do anything special to get this screenshot, did you? Just like we're in-game, I imagine. So a screenshot like this would have been impossible just months ago. In this expansion, you can see up to 3 times as far than you could before. It's awesome. This adds a whole new level to working on the game. So I'm super sorry, but it's pretty significant. I thought it was a really cool tech thing that really just makes this expansion one of the best we've ever done.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
an awesome point. Some of the new rendering tech for our far clip and LOD stuff is awesome. Opens up a ton of new macro compositional abilities that we've never had access to before. So it's really good stuff. It's a good point. So in Azuna, we're also going to be meeting up with the small dying remnants of the blue dragon flight. And Azuna's rich in arcane energies. And the blue flight have found a refuge here among some of the raw ley energies that pull and pocket certain parts of Azuna. Now, Azuna is also home to a large independent landmass known as the Warden's Isle. And the Warden's Isle is also home to the Vault of the Wardens that Eric briefly mentioned as being a part of the Demon Hunter intro experience. And so, as I mentioned, the land and its people to this day still suffer under a terrible curse. And as you explore the vast elven ruins that litter the landscape of Azuna, you're certainly going to run into some of these guys. Now, this is a creature we refer to as the Spectre. And if you've explored elven ruins throughout Azeroth, and particularly Kalimdor, you would have no doubt ran into a banshee or two in your time, I'm sure. This is actually the male counterpart to the banshee, sometimes internally referred to as the Manshee, but his real name's Spectre, but everyone just calls him Manshee. Now, in the present timeline, Queen Ashara has sent an elite Naga force here to recover a very important relic. And the concept you see on screen here is for a new Naga brute. Now, these guys and girls are huge, hulking monstrosities, many times larger than the Naga that you may be familiar with. But those same Naga have all received all new models, all new high-res models. New skins, new weapons, new armor, the whole bit. They look awesome in-game. Now, Ashara has also allied herself with a local sea giant kingdom. And the sea giants in Azuna are here in greater numbers, found like nowhere else on Azeroth. And here's a look at just a couple of their in-game models. And you can see the guy in the back left there has like the bulk of a galleon just as a shoulder piece. So it gives you some idea of the scale of these guys. They're pretty damn big. Now, this pretty lady is a creature we refer to as the Wrath of Ashara. And the image doesn't really do her scale without any justice, without any context here, but she is gigantic. She's truly massive. And last but not least, here's some concept work for the Warden Warriors and their Owl companions. And you're going to find them throughout the Warden's Isle and scattered throughout the Broken Isles in a few small enclaves and holdouts. So now let's take a look at some of the details of Azuna.
Cool. Thanks, Jules. So like all of the zones, Azuna is one of my favorites, just like all of them. So I have to tell you, we went through a lot of iteration when we started working on Azuna. And it wasn't until we came upon a new theme, which was a Greek Isle theme. That's when we created this concept. Again, this is another foundation piece. With this, we had our stylized olive trees and our nice cypress and the blue sky and big white clouds that we could put along the horizon. With a piece like this, we can start to build the zone and start to make iterations on other POIs, like this haunted forest, or if you can see below, the warm and cool variants for the zone. But the biggest iteration to happen had to be with the ancient Night Elf architecture. Now, we've seen some of these columns and platforms before in the game, but never really more than that. So we really had to expand this kit. So we started to add these wavy Art Nouveau lines and lattice patterns to domes and bigger shapes. We really love this concept. And from here, we created this piece. Now, this is not really a concept. This is a style guide. Lots of people on the team can use this. This gives us a guide for creating anything that the ancient Night Elves would need. If you think about it, we have over 80 artists and over 60 designers. A piece like this is super important to keep everything looking as though one guy did it. All right, so let's take a quick look at a video of the latest version of Azuna.